I was out there with a devil. The devil isn't this red character with this fictitious character with a devil horn. The devil is these pains, these negative thoughts, these things that are kind of creeping in, trying to stop you from doing it. But then it was also just the inspiration of like what the mind and body is capable of. I have an ecosystem of property businesses, primarily an estate agency business, property investment development, and then a consulting business.
So what's been some of the challenges around having multiple companies?
The people you're then competing with are willing to do more than you. They're willing to sacrifice more, be more disciplined, endure more pain, dial in all of these variables to the absolute nth degree.
So how do you transition from there to doing full-scale development?
There's a point of realization a lot of people have in their property journey where they quickly realize their own capital isn't going to be enough to get them the scale or the speed that they want. The main bottleneck is capital. There's three main bottlenecks. The first thing is what I call like deal flow. How many deals are landing on your desk that make sense with a number stack that you can buy? And then the second bottleneck is capital. You can have all of the best profitable deals land on your desk, but if you don't have the capital to go and buy them, well, then again, you don't have a property business. And then the third thing is team and operations. You can have all the best deals land on your desk. Just managing one refurb sometimes can be a little bit stressful. If you've got multiple projects on the go, you're then going to be dependent on having the right project managers, professional team, good contractors in place. So if you can solve those three problems, it sounds simple, but that's how you unlock scale.
You got a good mindset, right? Because you did the ultra marathon, right?
So it's called Marathon des Sables. It's nicknamed the toughest foot race on earth. Signed up for it in January, which gave me 4 months of training.
Oh, that's not very long.
I thought I was a lot fitter than I was. The Marathon des Sables, it's 250 kilometers across the Sahara Desert, which is the hottest desert on earth, over 7 days.
People die.
People die.
Oh, man.
Years ago, there was someone that died. They just didn't wake up from their tent because it's a lot of strain on the heart and the body.
Oh my
So you have to go and do an ECG and get a doctor to check your heart to sign you off before. I just passed out unconscious and I was in a coma for 3 days.
I was sick just listening.
In the Sahara Desert.
So Tyler, for the listeners, tell us what it is you do.
So in short, I have really an ecosystem of property businesses, primarily an estate agency business. We specialize in, we call it the upper end of the market, really kind of £1 million plus. And we operate under the self-employed broker model that's we're seeing the industry kind of shift to. So similar to the way they do it in the US, Dubai, Australia. Another thing is property investment development. So I've got a property investment development company where we buy land, houses and develop that. And then a consulting business as well for investors, developers looking to want to help like raising capital from investors and kind of operationalizing their business. So
What's your thoughts then? We have a variety of different guests on the podcast, and I guess in the world of entrepreneurship, some people are very much around the focus on one business, don't get distracted. We always have this debate between us. Sometimes we're on one business, but then we want to set the next, the sister company up or whatever it might be. Obviously, you've got a few companies there, so I'm sure you're busy. What's your thoughts, or what's been some of the challenges around having multiple companies?
It is challenging. The challenging part is jumping out of like the mindset of one business to then get into another, and it is almost like you have to like switch identity like that. I think in my opinion, there's no right or wrong answer. Where I do think there's a lot to be said for just primarily focus on one thing is kind of going from that 0 to 1 phase. As we all know, getting a business off the ground is a grind. Getting it to that kind of escape velocity, getting it to where it's got momentum and you've got enough resource to maybe like have a team and use media as kind of leverage to help grow rather than just pure brute force output from yourself. So I think that's the phase of the business where it really requires you to be all in. And then beyond that, I mean, I'm lucky in the sense that there is a lot of crossover in my businesses with them kind of being in property. So we share a lot of kind of resources and whatnot. But I have a great team. So within each business, there's kind of a clear operator who has ownership over that particular part of the business. And ultimately, the direction that I'm trying to take myself is, and maybe we'll speak about this, is become more of a media company, for me, I just want to spend my time creating media, building the brand, and downstream from that, I've got great team, great operators in the businesses that benefit from the trust and attention that we're building.
Grant Cardone style.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you seen much success in that so far, from just concentrating on the media and then seeing it all filter down to your other businesses?
Just huge amounts. I bang the drum of personal branding and content so much, and for me, the opportunities I've seen from it is on the property side. We have a lot of investors that come to us. So I was saying it's either investors will find me online and they'll maybe watch a podcast or whatever, and they've got some capital they want to put to work. They want to invest in a development project, an investment project, and they'll reach out to me. Or I'll meet someone offline could be at the gym, in the sauna, it could be on a flight somewhere, but then we connect on socials, and then for the following however many months, they've been nurtured by the content that's been putting out.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, I want to do something now. So raising capital, recruitment for the agency business is great. Just
It all comes down to trust, really, isn't it? Because they
scale.
feel like they know you.
Yeah.
Because of the content, right? And then especially if you've got short form content, and then they can go and watch a long form content where you kind of really can get someone's like personality and what they're about.
Exactly that.
So back in the day, you just used to meet someone at an event, and that's kind of it. You might not see their face again unless you're calling them.
Yeah, true.
At another event, but now,
Yeah, you just get their number or something.
Yeah.
It's like, remember, where was we when we did that, the Lyle and Scott thing?
oh
We
yeah,
bumped into
Parsons.
and it was weird because I where he's similar age, I
Boxing
think.
promoter, this Parsons guy.
Okay.
He does all
Right,
the Eddie Hearn, does all the Eddie Hearn interviews, but we were just passing. And I was just like, "Oh, you're right, mate." And I thought I knew him, and it took me like a minute to clock. I was like, "Wait,
I
you're."
know you.
And then I was like, "Wait a second, who are you? You're thingy." I was like, "Wait a second, I don't know you." I was like, "That's so weird." I was like, "I mean, it was,
Did you say that at the time?
I actually did as well."
We was bare friendly with him.
I was flustered because I thought he was my mate.
Yeah.
And it was so weird. You know, like we had seen a few people we know at this shoot or whatever. Anyway, so it's but yeah, that is the power of social media.
And on the other side of that, where people have come up to you
Yeah.
and said, and they feel like they
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I have no idea who you are.
Yeah, fully. We were saying it at, like, for us, we've been recognised a few places, and if you're in specific business places, and we've had some cool ones, but the main ones is actually if we're at like a more local friends of friends thing, where we was at, I can't remember, someone's birthdays and stuff, and there's lots of people there. Yeah, they just come up and say, "Oh, hello."
But you'll get with that, they'll be like, "Oh, you said XYZ in this podcast, and because of XYZ, I did XYZ."
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, that's like sick." Like,
But they just act like they know you, and then after like a minute, they're the same. They're like, "Oh, I listened to your podcast," and it's like, "Oh, cool." But it's,
How are you going about creating your personal brand? Have you got somebody full time on it, more than one person on it?
I've got someone full time at the moment who's kind of head of content that primarily is with me whenever I've got something interesting going on. It's actually, he's not here today because he's on holiday with his.
I was going to say, it's not interesting.
He would be here, and he helps with the editing of stuff as well. But really looking to build the team. I'll be honest. Like this year, my output has not been. It's been minimal. I've been putting some stuff out, and we've got a huge content pipeline. But the first 4 or 5 months of the year, I was so much going on with work, and I was training for an ultra marathon, and then my content guy had things going on. So, but we're back on the bandwagon now.
You've been pushing like a lot of your YouTube for like when you set up your first YouTube channel, like over 5 years ago, right? I was looking now. 5
years ago.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of like your strategy. You've got like a lot of value videos, I guess, about property development, and then you've got the whole lifestyle side of things. I think one of them was like a jet, right? On a jet, like 28 mils.
So I think.
Quick pause from the podcast to give a special shout out to one of our sponsors, the Rejuvenation Doctors. The Rejuvenation Doctors is a hair transplant clinic in the northwest of England in Bury, owned by Dr. Jamie. Now, I can personally vouch for these guys, as I myself around 2 months ago had a hair transplant from Dr. Jamie, and I can't wait to see the growth in the next 3 to 6 months. The service was amazing. It was very VIP. He looked after me throughout, and he made a very uncomfortable experience extremely comfortable and caring. Now, boys, if your hairline's going back, if you're receding, if you've got that McDonald's hairline, do not wait until it's too late. Message Dr. Jamie today at the Rejuvenation Doctors. His tags are in the link to the description of this podcast, and he will sort out your hairline just the same as he's sorting out mine.
The strategy that it's with personal brand and content now, I think YouTube is the most valuable platform you can be on. As you guys know, being consistent is like the hardest thing. So kudos to you guys for being consistent with this as well. But the YouTube now, like the main channel, I think we're going to start kind of appealing to a slightly broader audience. And then once there's more top of funnel content, and like top of funnel content being stuff that you don't need to be in a state agency or in property investment to find the content entertaining or informative. So kind of it's a bit more
Broader.
Like a big net.
more broad, hybrid of like some lifestyle and entertainment, plus also some education, value and sharing things that I'm learning that I think will be valuable for my audience. And then from that, some people will decide what direction they want to go, because they want to then learn more specific about property investment development stuff. We've got a second channel, which is Property with Tyler, which is just much more specific.
Yeah, way more niche.
Stuff, much more niche. On the agency side now, with the estate agency, we've got a media arm to that side of the business, which is, so the estate agency is called LPP, Luxury Property Partners. This new media arm is like Performance by LPP. So it's just around content around being a high performing agent, which is both the skill set of the job, but also just high performance is more than what you just do in work, right? It's your health, fitness, your mindset. And then of course from that, they decide they want to explore being an agent with us. There'll be certain call to actions, or on the investment development side, they decide they want to potentially put some capital to work and partner with us on a project. They can do that.
How many agents have you got?
Depends who you class as active, but it's between 15 and 20.
And that's all like, they're all self-employed.
Is it
effectively.
commission only? So it's just hustler environment.
Yeah.
So if you set up the model then, so you know you've got like the big one, like EXP, for example, like they have that model. So you now have your own brand and model where you work like that.
Yeah. I mean, EXP are huge. I think they're up to like 700 plus agents, but they're very much, they deal with the whole market up and down the UK. The commission splits are more in favor of the agent, in the sense of, I think it goes up to like 70%. But the fees, the value of properties you're going to be selling are going to be lower, and the fees you're going to be charging are lower. Whereas with LPP, it's much more, it's £1 million plus. I think our average transaction is in the region of like between 2.5, and then average fee is just under 2.5%. So on selling a £2 million property, an agent can be banking 25 to 30k in passive income.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what areas do you cover? Are you UK or just South and London?
We're predominantly around London, not too much like in prime central London, but we do stuff in Surrey, South London, and then now Hertfordshire, Buckinghamshire, up into Oxfordshire as well. We've got a couple agents that are in the Midlands and further north, but not too much activity up there right now.
Have you heard of Alex Moisey? Crest.
Yeah, I believe he used to work with an old friend of mine.
What
Tyler.
was he on?
Tyler.
Ross.
Tyro Nash. Yeah. That's it. Because he does the same.
No, so we had him on the pod not long ago. Well, no,
Alex.
quite a while ago.
Alex Moisey. Yeah.
Alex Moisey. Yeah.
No, I've not met Alex or
No.
know too much about him.
No, I think he's in the same.
You know Tyro and Louis.
Yeah,
Tyro.
Tyler and we worked together as agents back in the day.
Oh, cool, cool.
I think like credit to him, what he's built. It's been great to watch him develop over the years.
Sure. And now he's like predominantly Dubai now, isn't he?
Yeah,
Has he got people here still?
Would you expand in Dubai as well? Or?
Oh, this is a hot topic right now.
It is.
I'm not opposed to it, and I'm definitely exploring conversations, because I've had a number of people that have approached me and said, look, like what you're doing in the UK. There's a number of people in Dubai that are crushing it as agents, and for them, the next step in their career is maybe to become a business owner and open their own brokerage, but they understand that a partnership with someone is going to be the right direction, a better direction for them. And equally for me, if I was to do it, I would want to be partnering with one or two people that maybe know the market much better than me, that have dominated as an agent for 3, 4, 5 years.
It must be so competitive there, though, right?
Yeah, but I think competition is good.
I heard the silly numbers people are making out there, like just like you say, like a normal agent who is just working under a brand.
It's because like
as an employee,
because they sell one,
and
it's a good month. I mean, like they can make decent money, everyone involved. Let alone to sell 3 or 4.
I mean, I'm working. I got a friend of I was chatting with him last night. He's been out there for 3 years. He's on track to do 600k pounds this year, sterling take home income.
Oh wow,
3 years
Tax free.
tax free, which is equivalent of over £1 million.
yeah, technically, yeah.
But he's saying there's guys in his office that are what, we're 7 months into the year, almost 7 months into the year. We are 7 months into the year, aren't we? July.
Yeah.
That have banked 1.2, 1.3 pounds personal income.
And just working for someone else. Yeah.
Just one man band.
Yeah.
Agent.
Wow,
Yeah, it's mad. It is mad.
So I was thinking about going to Dubai and getting in an estate agency now.
But what you don't see is the thousands of others
that are
that-
making.
Oh, yeah, guaranteed.
Loads.
Oh, yeah.
So many people go there with the kind of get sold a dream in a way, and they'll go there, but they're just not built for it. You know what I'm saying? And then they don't make any money.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's same as recruitment, isn't it? In the sense of like, there's tons of people do recruitment, but a lot of them are earning 30k a year, 40k a year,
make-
whatever.
Yeah.
But then
six figures.
few people that are just smashing it. I was with a friend the other day. He's doing like 400 grand a year or something. It's like,
How did you first get into property? Like, what was the first?
So, well, so to set the scene, my dad has an estate agency business in the Midlands.
Oh, cool.
And so, but I wasn't exposed to property through that. I was exposed to entrepreneurship, and that's what maybe gave me that entrepreneurial itch where, in school I thought, okay, I'm going to try a clothing brand, which seems like to be a rite of passage for every entrepreneur, or trying to do events and this. And it was when I was 17, decided, didn't want to go to university, and I tried a whole host of things. But then I saw a Facebook ad for a free property seminar in London, how to become a millionaire from property.
How long ago was this?
This would be 11 years ago. So what, like 2014?
Yeah.
Do you remember who it was? Like the
Samuel Leeds or someone?
No,
it's a long time ago.
It's
You know,
way
it's probably before, yeah.
before this.
How was it?
His name was Glenn. I mean, I don't think he's I don't know what happened to him, to be honest. But
Either way, yeah.
credit to him, he was the one that opened my eyes to property and kind of pulled back the curtain and said, like, these are the different strategies. This is what's possible. And as everyone knows, property is like, it's not a scam. It's like, okay, this is a real business model that's been around for centuries. So I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Of course, at the end of the seminar, there was an opportunity to
go to the back of the room and
go to the back of get a credit card out, and it was only, I think it was like
Checkbook.
£300 for a 3 or 4 day workshop he was doing. So I thought, bargained. Yeah. I mean, I must have had like a grand or two in my bank account, and I was like, look, whether I've got £0 in my bank account or £1,000, I'm broke. Like, I just need to focus on getting the knowledge, and went to that. Started working as a self-employed estate agent in the Midlands. Took me 6 months to earn my first commission, but then 18 months later, saved up 10 grand, used that as a deposit for a house in Coventry, which I bought for 85 grand, 10% deposit, and then refubbed that on credit cards and whatever, just living paycheck to paycheck, getting resourceful, and rolled that profit into another one, and yeah, here we are 10 years later.
So what sort of size developments do you look at now?
We're under construction on a site for 17 houses right now, which is about a £9 million scheme, which will hopefully be all money out on that one by the end of this year.
Oh, so you holding on, you're not selling?
No, we are selling that one. So we'll exit that one. So they're 3 and 4 bedroom kind of detached houses, say higher.
And you'll be selling them.
So
So for your like you say that the ecosystem.
we'll be partnering with
Yeah.
It will be like a collaborative approach. And then the other stuff we've got is more commercial conversions. So just in the process right now, actually should go through this week a 20-bedroom hotel, which we'll convert to apartments with.
What areas are you targeting?
This is in the Midlands.
Okay.
This is in kind of Rugby and surrounding areas. Last week we exchanged on the purchase of a commercial office building. We'll convert to 11 apartments. But just conversion stuff in this market at the minute, it's more in line with my risk appetite.
And then are you flipping or all of them, or you hold?
Yeah, my plan now is, especially with like the bigger developments, this particular like Cambridge scheme, for example, the £9 million project. the pain, stress, heartache you have to go through for something like this and all the risks that you have to take on, it's fine because there's obviously a nice payday in it, but it would feel a lot nicer knowing you go through all of this to develop an asset that you're going to retain and is going to pay you every single month for the next 20 years. And so now kind of our investment strategy is we just buy and develop stock that we can hold on to. And just build a portfolio.
And then how do you do that with, I'm asking just kind of personally because it's the same stuff, but how do you structure that with investors if you're holding on to the property? Are you just raising on a fixed percentage year, or are they also going to retain some equity in the assets?
We primarily do with, well, at the minute exclusively, just kind of the investor comes in for the equity piece. So they are very much a joint venture partner. They have a shareholding in the limited company, the SPV that he sets up. We're very clear from day one that our strategy is we are developing assets that we want to own long term, that are, yes, it's going to be a nice uplift in value and a profit margin we're creating, but the real value is in the cash flow, developing high cash flowing assets. And so the investors that we're working with are very much aligned. They want the same thing. So they'll come in day one in the region of the ticket size is maybe like 125 grand up to 300-400, maybe £500,000 that investor will throw in. We'll then use commercial finance like bridging and development finance to fund the rest of the works. And then upon project completion, refinance, investor will get majority of their funds out. Unlikely they'll get all of their funds out unless it's a stonker of a deal. And then we co-own the asset together long term. Both 50-50.
And what about that bit that's retained from the investors' cash? How do you structure getting that paid back? Do they get paid everything back before you start taking profit off the cash flow, or?
Well, like we're co-owning an asset together, and so as I guess directors of the company, where I'm a director and they'll be a director, we can make a decision what will be in the shareholders' agreement every maybe 12 months as to what we want to do with the asset. If they want to exit their position and they want out, well, then there's two ways we can do that. Or we can just sell the asset and distribute them their funds, or I can look to kind of recapitalize them elsewhere with my own money or other funding lines that we've got to then just, I can hold the asset, but I can go to them and say, hey, your position is worth 100 grand or 150 grand. Here's the cash, and I can keep the asset. So there's no burning need to get all their money out.
The money that they still keep retained, they're happy to sit with that. Nice. Yeah, that's what because same thing, you know, when we're doing a couple flips, not on big scale, single dwelling stuff, but same thing, you do all the work, you do all the things, you do the risk, and you're like, I kind of want to just keep this now. I don't really want to sell it. But yeah.
How do you go from that? So, like, I mean, I'm in property. We all got property. Anyway, Luke's got a rental space. Obviously, Joe's doing developing. I've just finishing up on a development myself, but it's small, really small. And we're talking like it's a South London flat, 1 bedroom to a 2 bedroom conversion. We cashed it all, so we got a nice amount of money coming back. Not worrying about bridging, but like we're looking at this thinking we're gonna make some decent money from it, but it's gonna doing those one by one. There's not gonna take us to like the next level. So how do you transition from there to doing full scale developments?
There's a point of realization a lot of people have in their property journey where they quickly realize their own capital isn't going to be enough to get them the scale or the speed that they want. And I often talk about there's a landlord mentality and there's a business owner mentality. So like landlord mentality, traditionally, you might know people like this is like, I'm going to save up and save up and save up and buy a property and dump all my cash into that. And then I've got to save up and save up and save. I'm going to buy a second one. And by the time you've built a portfolio that's like meaningful and can pay a meaningful income, like years, if not decades, have gone by, right?
Yeah.
And some people have that realization 10, 15 years down the line. They're like, okay, this is a very slow way. Some people, maybe like yourself, quickly realize, in fact, how I'm doing it now is good, but if I want to play an even bigger game, this isn't a scalable strategy. And ultimately, the main bottleneck is capital. One thing we're doing at the minute on one of the YouTube channels is we're documenting building the portfolio to 100 million quid. And I put a video out recently kind of just breaking down how I am kind of building the business or designing the business, how I think about property as a business. And one key point I make is that there's three kind of main bottlenecks or three main things that you need to solve for in order to unlock scale. And the first thing is what I call like deal flow, where it's just how many deals are landing on your desk that make sense, where the numbers stack that you can buy. Because if you don't have good opportunities, if you don't have deals, you just don't have a property business, right? And so that is just obviously building relationships with agents. There's certain marketing strategies you can have for that. And then the second bottleneck is capital. Is you can have all of the best profitable deals land on your desk, but if you don't have the capital to go buy them, well, then again, you don't have a property business. And so to unlock that bottleneck, it's primarily working with funding partners. And I'm just a big believer that success leaves clues. If you look at the most successful property entrepreneurs in the game, whether it's Blackstone that have the biggest private equity real estate portfolio in the world, is because they've raised hundreds of billions of investors. If you look at Grant Cardone that we spoke about, he's built a multi-billion-dollar real estate portfolio because he's raised $1 billion in equity from his investors. Or One Hyde Park, if you guys know One Hyde Park in Knightsbridge, famous development from the Kennedy brothers, that was a joint venture with a Qatari billionaire. And so, yeah, it's just, you've got to work with investors and unlock kind of funding lines. And I mean, that's a whole other conversation we can go into if you like. And then the third thing is team and operations, because you can have all the best deals land on your desk and then on funding lines to go and buy them all. But then you probably, just managing one refurb sometimes can be a little bit stressful. If you've got multiple projects on the go, you're then going to be dependent on having the right project managers, professional team, good contractors in place to deliver it. And so if you can solve those three problems, it sounds simple. It's obviously not easy to execute, but that's how you unlock scale.
Yeah. That's when it kind of goes from being like, most people that have businesses, they know that it makes sense to invest in property, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, now suddenly, if you're kind of growing it to that, now it's becoming like another business, and it's like, it could be taken away from your business. So it's like,
yeah,
that, and I guess that's why you end up having people that just want to invest with people like yourself, right? Because they're just like, you know what, I've already got money, I don't have the time. If we go halves in it and you already know what you're doing, take it.
And that's exactly what our joint venture partners are. If they've got, I had one guy reach out to me recently. He's got a construction business. He's got 7 figures sat there in the bank account. It says, Tyler, I've been wanting to invest in property and do something for the last 12 months. I just haven't found the time to go out and make the offers and analyze the opportunities and whatever. And I just know probably another 12 months is going to buy. So if you've got opportunities, I'll write the check right now.
Nice.
The thing is, this is the thing where I feel like for property, I've said to these boys and to other people, I've had lots of conversations, property for some reason does seem like the thing that everyone feels like they can do themselves or pull off. So like, I can't remember, I remember it was Sam, who's in the other room now, I just heard, but we was having a conversation. I think it was after a podcast we done, and he said, oh yeah, I'm going to start doing these property things and do this and that. I said, but you never spoke about property. You don't like property. You like, what? Why are you trying to become a property developer? But I feel like so many people like that. Whereas if they're partnering, let's say with yourself, chances are it's not costing them any more money. If they did it on their own, they wouldn't get a good deal. They wouldn't get it off market or below market value. Probably don't know how to deliver it, so it's going to cost them the money anyway. Yeah. Then whatever they're doing, that's allowed them to stack cash in the first place with their business.
Could suffer.
They've taken their eye off it to try and learn this, but with no background or no context. So they're not, even by taking 100% of the pot, I guarantee the end pot is not as much as 50% of the pot with someone that's in the space. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people maybe do their own homes and then feel like...
Yeah. Being a property developer looks glamorous on Instagram when you can show the before and afters, and it looks fun, and you get to design all the furnishings and everything, but
don't see all the stress behind it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been involved in transactions when you've got solicitors that lag on the transaction, you've got an agent chasing you, the bridging lender, the bank finance is like, it's causing you...
Like projects overrunning, right?
It's overrun, contractors asking you for money that hasn't landed yet. I could just name 1,000 different things.
It's just headache, isn't it? We had it so much with clients where we built up our first company was doing it for clients, so just doing their own homes, renovations, well, doing everything. And then that's obviously allowed us to transition into doing developments now. But
What kind of projects you work on?
so the ones we've got at the second are, so we're taking like a bungalow to a 4-bedroom house.
Okay.
We bought it to try and split the land and put another house. The numbers made sense. We're just doing this development, but it would have been very good if we could have got another house on the land. So we took that risk, but I don't think we'll be able to get it through. Then we're doing local, like a 4-bedroom house that we just got at a really good price and knocked everything through, open plan, small extension, remodel. And then we've got some like flats up in Liverpool.
Okay.
That we bought, did some renovation, and we're holding on to those, refinancing those.
Lucky, like you have like a lot of experience in that already, isn't it? It's not from doing it.
Yeah, so
yourself.
we have experience on all
Leave
the
it for other people.
So yeah, and then we're finishing a couple of jobs now for clients where like we're doing £1 million renovation for a client, but it's their home, so they're continuing to live there. But I don't want to do any of that stuff anymore. I only want to do
Your own work.
our own work. And then we're doing some stuff for like for clients. So Leanne, who's my partner, I didn't really do it, but she's been overseeing like Jake's one, like the project management for that. We're trying to basically offer the complete service for clients where we'll find the property deals, charge a sourcing fee, deal with everything, charge a management fee, and then when it's refinanced out, deal with the management ongoing, and my partner will deal with all that side of things. So, but that's just because same thing I've said, like we've got a lot of deal flow.
Yep.
And then the development stuff is with investors, 50-50 split, joint venture. The flats, like we've put our own cash in and we'll scale that side of things. But then I was just trying to find the right model to be able to partner with people that want to build portfolios where we're just basically, currently we're just going to be charging fees at every point. So sourcing, the management, and then obviously ongoing management, but we won't have any equity of the properties.
Okay.
Longer term, I'd like to get a structure where we can be buying as much as we can raise, and obviously like they sit with equity. I've thought about having it as a a fund, a bond type structure. I don't know what it's all in the structure on my side. I can raise the investment, I can find the deals, and we know how to deliver. It's just getting the right structure in place that makes sense for us and for everyone.
What's the roadmap to get to 100 mil?
So the type of products we're focusing on at the minute is commercial conversions for a number of reasons. One, favorable planning policy. We had not a planning nightmare, but the time it took and the hoop you had to jump through to get planning for the ground up development in Cambridgeshire just made me realize how I knew it already, but just
red tape,
broken, a lot of red tape, and it's just a big bottleneck and constraint that I don't want to be dealing with personally. I personally don't have ambitions to be a house builder. For me, I just want to build. The property investment stuff is more of a personal investment vehicle, not so much building like a house building brand and being known for creating a certain product. But right now just commercial conversions, a kind of favorable planning policy where to get the necessary consents, permissions to convert to apartments or HMO, it's much quicker and much more certainty in the outcome of the application.
So what sort of places are you buying then for that? Are you just buying like old derelict?
Yeah, so
office blocks.
The office block we exchanged on last week is a kind of like, it's one of these big Victorian townhouses, that nice big rooms, was used as a recruitment office. It's now vacant. So that'll be converted into, it'll be a HMO, but each HMO room being quite a big self-contained, almost like a self-contained studio. So it'll have the kitchenette, the ensuite. Oh, okay. And you attract a better profile of tenant with the slightly bigger rooms as well. So from a long-term repair and maintenance perspective and just not having the churn of tenants, that's ideal. And these are kind of end values anywhere from 800k to like this hotel deal I mentioned, that would be a £1.5 million end value.
What did you pick that up for?
We've bought in, there's two parts to it. In total, it'll be 720, I believe. Yeah. But given the fact it's a hotel already, we don't need to do any room reconfiguration.
Yeah, you've got all the services and everything in place.
Yeah, and so it won't be a huge amount of works.
Nice.
And then to finish answering your question about the roadmap, just keep building up a cadence of like the frequency we're doing acquisitions, and really next 12 months focus on just streamlining our operations from like a delivery perspective. So making sure the contractors we're partnered with, it's a smooth process, and then just see how the acquisitions evolve. Like there's a nice flywheel effect that we're seeing now starting to kick in, where the more you do and the more you document, the more expressions of interest you have from people that want to partner with you and bring funding, which means you can then go do more projects, bigger projects, which means you can then showcase them, and then that again, the media you create from that
Compound.
it compounds.
So where are you at currently? What's the current value of the portfolio?
I mean, about 14 million quid.
14.
Yeah, and that's including the 9 million quid on the Cambridgeshire stuff, and obviously the equity from that will just roll into more of these projects.
Mm-hmm. Nice. But you're selling those ones, and then you'll shift into commercial. And what are you finding with in terms of getting all of these places tenanted straight out? Like when you're doing whenever I've looked at we've not done any. I've looked at lots, and I've been close to trying to pull the trigger on bigger deals, sort of 20 units plus. I was speaking to someone about partnering the other day on one that was 30 apartments in Epsom. But bringing those to market, and then like the loan to values and all that side of things on the exit, was some of the things to consider, or some of the challenges around?
First thing is, in the initial analysis and appraisal, we always have a best case scenario, a base case scenario, and then a worst case scenario. And we want to make sure with the worst case scenario, we've still got a margin of safety, still, so we can afford the lease up period to kind of fill the rooms to be longer than we expected. We can afford for the construction to overrun, both with time and cost, and we can afford for the exit valuation to come down a little bit. Like if everything goes against us, can we still kind of wash our face with it? That's kind of the first tick box that we want. We do and have tested demand as well. So whether you just put up like an advert for rooms and just see how many phone calls come in. I'm pretty tapped in and connected with like a lot of local letting agents as well. So we kind of get feedback from them. What's popular, what isn't popular. Like there has been a slowdown with like HMOs in this particular area over the last 12 months. There has been a slowdown with like professional tenants, which is why you're seeing a lot of HMO investors jump ship to like more social housing and stuff as well. It's like on this hotel deal actually, where there'll be some form of government contract that plan A is to exit onto like that. I mean, it still works as HMO. And even it's broke up into two assets as well. So worst case as well, we can just maybe sell one, keep the other, or if we want to, we'll just sell both. That HMO is an example. And the exit, like one risk we see is the rooms are on the slightly smaller side. So we're looking like 11 square meters, 10 square meters, down to like, I think the smallest one is 7.5, 8 square meters. And we just know in that area, the professionals want bigger than that. And there's a bit more of a churn on those smaller rooms. So that's why ideally we want to get it onto some kind of government contract.
Do you do much of that, or have you got any of those currently?
This would be our first one. Yeah.
I feel like that's also something from when I speak to a lot of more experienced people, bigger portfolio, there's a point where I'm the same at the start or something. There's a lot of people against giving their properties out to the local council or social housing or that. But then there's a lot of the people I speak to, there's a turn point where they say, mate, they're the best tenants you'll get. I
hear both sides, so I'm gonna play the game and then
take care of all the maintenance and that as well, though, don't they?
Yeah,
get government contracts.
Maintenance,
it's guaranteed rent.
And sometimes I'll pay slightly over market rate as well. So you can be onto a winner if you get the right contract.
That's the thing. Yeah, you got to get the right one.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. So a lot of your content as well is around sort of your mindset. How old are you now?
28.
28. Yeah.
Oh yeah, same.
Young
I'm
buck.
27.
I don't feel too young anymore.
So, where did your sort of personal development and stuff and all that journey start, and where it is now?
So like I referenced my dad, my parents. I won the lottery with my parents. Like I just think, you know, that's one thing that I always say. It's the it's the best lottery that you can win. Like my parents, they're entrepreneurial and they're very much like they've done the work on themselves as well, like from a personal development perspective. So I very much grew up in a household where I had the right belief systems instilled into me. Like one example was, and I spoke about this I was speaking on stage a couple of weeks ago at an event, and my dad was in the audience, and I think I must have been like 8 or 9 years old. I've got a younger sister. She's a couple of years younger. And one night after school, he brings us around the dining room table and says, I need you guys to sign this contract. Is it at the top of the contract? I didn't know what. I was too young I barely remember it, but I've still got the piece of paper. And it's like Newman family expectations. So Newman's my last name. And it was like 30 bullet points of all of these different things that I was basically signing to agree to. Like one of them was, for example, is like, you can't use the word can't. Like that was the C word in our household. You don't use the word can't, because obviously we've heard it now, but as a kid, it's very powerful to learn that if you say you can do something, you say you can't do something. Whatever you decide, you're probably right. And there was stuff like that. And so I was kind of, I guess, indoctrinated in that sense. And then also I just from about 15, 16, maybe some of you guys were the same, like after school you go onto YouTube and you start watching these motivational videos and getting hyped up. But that led me into learning about like Tony Robbins. I don't know if you guys know Tony Robbins, but yeah, I went to one of his first events. The first event I went to, I was 16 years old, went to another one for the years after, and that was a huge influence on my life. And I'm just a big believer and proponent that all success in business, in relationships, in your finances, in your happiness and health is just downstream from your psychology. If you get the psychology and mindset right first, the rest of the stuff will be much easier to figure out. But I think if you're trying to improve your health and fitness and you're trying to get in shape and whatever, you might have all of the tactics and strategies on how to work out, whatever, all the theory. But if your mindset is still fundamentally broken, I think it's just you're going to be, self-sabotage. You're going to be your own worst enemy. Same in relationships. But yeah.
You got a good mindset, right? Because you did the ultra marathon, right? Is it ultra?
Yeah, in April.
So,
in the Sahara Desert.
What is the ultra marathon?
This year?
Yeah, in the Sahara Desert.
Oh yeah.
How many have you run?
That was the one and only one I've done.
What is it exactly?
How many people ran in it?
How many people ran? It was, I think, just under 1,000.
Really?
Yeah.
In the Sahara Desert?
Yeah.
I'll show you a picture of him afterwards. You'll see if you recognise him, because it's quite
He's
a small group. Yeah, because not many people are running. It's 5 marathons.
English guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We at the camp, all the English were kind of together.
Okay, his name's Colin Kerrins. Long sort of hair.
Maybe.
I'll show you a picture afterwards. Yeah. So yeah, just for those who don't know, explain what it is.
So it's called Marathon des Sables, which means in French Marathon of the Sands, and I think it's been going on for 30 or so years, and it's nicknamed the toughest foot race on earth. And I think maybe naively I signed up thinking to it, that's obviously just a bit of like branding and positioning and whatever, but I knew it was going to be tough. And I did an Ironman a number of years ago, and I just felt it was at the turn of the new year in January that I just thought, you know what, I just want to push myself, I want to challenge myself. I felt like I've not done something physically demanding for quite some time, and I just want to peek into my soul a little bit and kind of remind myself, what's possible. And so I've been aware of the Marathon des Sables for many years, because my old man did it like 15 years ago.
Oh, cool.
So I'd always kind of knew what it was, and then over the years, like people I've seen have done it, and I thought, you know what, if I don't do it this year, I'll never do it. So signed up for it in January, which gave me 4 months of training.
Oh, that's not very long.
January, February, March, April. It was like 3.5 months of training.
Wow.
And I thought I was a lot fitter than I was. So I thought, because I track all my workouts on an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Well, let me just check how much I've actually ran last year, 2024. I ran a combined 21 kilometers. I swear I've been on more runs than...
Well, it's 81 kilometers. That's why I'm running it.
Yeah. So for context, the Marathon des Sables, it's 250 kilometers across the Sahara Desert, which is the hottest desert on Earth, over 7 days. And
How many marathons is that?
so it's broken into what they call stages. So you've got 6 stages. So day 1 is like stage 1. That was, I want to say like 32 kilometers. Day 2 was a bit more. I think day 2 was like 40 kilometers. Day 3, whatever. But then there's what they call the long stage, which I think is day 4. And the long stage is 82 kilometers. So just under 2 back-to-back marathons.
I feel sick just listening. Oh, there's
And that's
In the Sahara Desert.
And you're carrying a 10 kg backpack with all of your food and supplies for a week.
For a week.
Yeah,
God.
because you're out there for the week. And so a lot of the training is like, a lot of mentally, it's like you're always thinking of that long stage, that day. It was day 4, stage 4. So if you can just get through day 1, great. If you get through day 2, get through day 3, great. That's what everyone's nervous about, because that's the one that takes people's souls.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first couple months of training, I chose not to watch any videos on YouTube about it. There was an element of, I mean, I'm not an anxious person by any means, but there was an element of like, I didn't want to instill any fear or anxiety into myself, because I knew that I had a long way to go with the training. So I thought, okay, signed up, paid the money. I announced it on social media. So I wanted to put my back against the wall, because if in my head or in my world, everyone knows I'm doing it, then there can't be an outcome where I don't make it across the road. So I thought, I'll get my back against the wall, hold myself accountable. And then I just asked my assistant, I said, look, I need someone that can coach me on this. Can you find me, just do some research to figure out who's the best running coach? And we found a guy called Rory who'd done it 17 times. I was like, he's a guy in Wales. He's like the UK David Goggins, where he's just a nutter. I think he holds a record for like, running for 24 hours on a treadmill. He's done over 1,000 marathons. Like, he just goes out on a Sunday and just runs a marathon. And so I worked with him, and anyway, I'm getting closer and closer to the event. Go out there. And I'm starting to hear these stories of people that have these horror stories. So
People die.
Oh,
A
mate.
couple of years ago, there was someone that died. They just didn't wake up from their tent, because it's a lot of strain on the heart and the body.
Oh my
So you have to go and do an ECG and get a doctor to check your heart to sign you off before you're allowed to go out. Get to the airport to fly out to Morocco, and there's one Ryanair flight going into this small little town or village where you kind of meet up with the organizers, called Ouarzazate, and there's like one Ryanair flight per week. And so it's pretty much the whole of the UK crowd is on that one Ryanair flight. And I'm chatting with this guy in Wetherspoons at Stansted Airport, called Paul. He's an older gentleman, and maybe like 50 years old. He said, yeah, I came in 2023, which was the hot year. And for me, my biggest and only fear was the heat. Because historically, I've always struggled a little bit in heat. Like, I've had like heat stroke if I've worked out too hard in the sun. And that was one thing that was playing in my mind a little bit. Because if you get heat exhaustion, you don't recover from that. Like, your body starts shutting down on you, and they're pulling you off the course. And so I did a lot of like heat chamber sessions where you're basically running in a 40-degree sauna for an hour at a time. I did about 10 of those sessions to get your core body temperature as low as possible, spending like 30, 40 minutes in a sauna. And it's amazing how quickly your body adapts. But I'm chatting to this guy, and he's like, oh yeah, I got to like day 2. And I just passed out unconscious, and I was in a coma for 3 days. I was like, okay.
Just what you want to hear. Oh, Wetherspoons on the way there.
Cheers, Paul.
That's when you accidentally lose your passport at the airport. There's only one flight in it.
And then And then I get there and I meet.
He's back again though. Was he like?
There's some nutters out there, right? And then I meet one girl. We get to our tent, our campsite. It's like a 6-hour bus ride into the desert, and it's just all of these tents, and you sleeping on the floor. And the British, we got like our corner is all the British people, and I meet this one girl called Maria, and she'd attempted it like 2 or 3 times. I think she attempted it twice actually, and it failed both times. And she was saying, "Oh yeah, last year it was crazy. I got back to the tent after day 1, and there was a guy in the tent opposite us having a heart attack, going to cardiac arrest. And so she was a nurse, so she knew how to do CPR, so I had to go and save him. Solved that. Day 2, I was found unconscious at the top of a sand dune. So obviously, I was well aware going into this event that it's a psychological challenge disguised as a physical challenge. Because we all know, like, we're all fit guys, the body adapts. Like, the body, you can get to a certain level of fitness. The question is, psychologically, when fucking gets dark, can you keep putting one foot in front of the other, and can you maintain that positive inner dialogue? So, long story short, day 1, the advice from everyone was take day 1 very slow. A lot of people just go out too fast on day 1, their feet get all blistered up, whatever, and it's game over. So I took day 1 very slow, actually came back feeling pretty comfortable. It was the first time experiencing the heat, and it is very much, it gets to like midday, 1 p.m, and it's like the oven doors to hell have just opened. And it's...
What month is it in?
In April. So temperatures are like between 40 and 45 degrees at its peak.
Right.
They have got hotter. And you'll go through certain terrains where there's no wind as well, so it feels hotter. And
My guy said the hot year, right? The year before, or whatever, right? That like, what was that?
50 degrees.
Oh god!
And like 50% of people were then off the course, just couldn't finish. And yeah, day two, I had it was pretty dark for me actually. But it was a 40-odd kilometer day. I think 40 kilometers or just under. I got 10 kilometers in. My ankle my like Achilles tendon just seized up and just felt busted. And I was limping. And I was like 10K into a 40K stretch, and you've got people walking past you. And psychologically, that just starts to defeat you. And so one of the things I was doing from the training throughout was recognizing that there is going to be these dark moments. And when they happen, I've got to acknowledge it. And I've just got to default to like positive inner dialogue just to keep myself in a state of certainty, conviction, confidence. And I created this world when I was out there in the desert. And I put a video on socials about it, how I was out there with a devil. And the devil isn't this, this red character with this fictitious character with the devil horns. It's the devil is these pains, these negative thoughts, these things that are kind of creeping in, trying to stop you from doing it. And when I started to get this pain, I recognized, okay, this is the devil whispering in my ear, telling me to stop and whatever. And that kind of helped me dissociate a little bit from the pain, because then the competitive side comes out. So I'm not going to let the devil win. And I just thought, if I just keep putting one foot in front of the other, inevitably I'll get there. I've just got to get this day done. I got crazy heat exhaustion on that second day. The last 7 or 8 kilometers, it's almost like salt flats, but obviously desert, it's just flat, and you can see the finish line and the camp
1 miles away,
and it looks miles away, and it's just not getting closer. And it's just the world starts caving in on you. I was walking at a 16 kilometer an hour pace, so slower than your grandma with Parkinson's walks backwards. It was and my heart rate was 150. Just body was shutting down on me. Cross the finish line, lie down in my tent. Yeah, the tent, you're in the shade, but it's still fucking hot, and your just body is cooking from the inside out. And that was the first moment where I started to think, because you got the GPS track on your backpack that they give you with what I call the oh shit button, where they say, if you press this button, we'll come and get you. If you're in trouble, you're about to pass out, press the button, we'll send in the helicopter or one of the dune buggies, and we're getting you out of there. When they put it on, I was like, there's no way I'm pressing that. It's just not even
Living there.
But it was that night that I started to think, what excuse can I come up with to justify why I pulled myself off the course? But anyway, fell asleep, had my food, woke up the next morning feeling fresh. Day 3 got that done. Day 4 was a long stage. Took me 24 hours and 1 minute. Just
non-stop
Do-
through the night.
Any of the days you have a break, like as in like, will you sit down for 5 minutes, or is it like if you stop, you won't get back up?
No, you have checkpoints.
Oh, okay.
So you have checkpoints every like 7 to 10 kilometers, where because you got your water, of course, and your water intake has got to be really on point to stop dehydration. So you got 750 ml on each side of your backpack. You put salt tablets in each, then at each checkpoint you refresh the water, new salt and electrolyte tablets, and then you have some with your food as well. And it got to the point, like the last 2 days for me, I lost so much weight, like physically all your energy stores are depleted, and the food you've got for the day is only like 2,000 calories, which is not a lot to be going out doing that. So I was really had enough food.
What sort of food were you taking?
So it was
In a pack or something?
so I'd have protein powder in the morning that I just put into my water bottle. And then I have some beef jerky. I have running gels, some flapjacks, and a small amount of fruit pastels, which was like the highlight of my day. And I think that was, and then some peanuts, salted peanuts as well. So a combination of all of those things you eat throughout the day. But it got to the point where literally the food was just lasting me enough to get to the next checkpoint before I just felt like depleted again. And
So when you get to the camps and stuff, they don't have food and meals and stuff there.
no,
That's
just
brutal.
keep
But
it back.
you can bring more if you wanted. But
So you got to carry more.
yeah.
Yes.
God, that's
Oh,
hard
it-
though when you're hungry on day 1, trying to not eat the food for like. You could read that. Oh, I'll just have another fruit pastel.
yeah. But I lost my appetite a little bit in the sun, in the heat.
Yeah.
You get back when you're cooking from the inside out, the last thing you want to do is eat. But
Yeah, no Uber Eats there, mate.
So then, day 4, the long line, done that in 24 hours and 1 minute.
yeah, I mean that was everything I wanted it to be. Like I went out there wanting it to be. I wanted to break myself down and see what the body's really capable of. And I mean, I'm not a crier. I'm not really that emotional of a guy. I honestly can't remember the last time I cried. It must have been when I was like in my teenage years, maybe. And I crossed that finish line, and I saw and it was like 6 a.m. I was the only one at that point. Like the last probably 5-6 hours of the night, I was on my own. Throughout the rest of the day, you're meeting people, whatever. There was a nice group of like English guys that I'd spent the first part of the night with, and some of them wanted to go ahead and go a bit faster. Some wanted to stay behind at the checkpoints and chill for a couple of hours because you had 36 hours to complete it, so you could afford to take longer breaks. But that's like 6 hours. I've been going alone. You got your headphones or music is dead. You're out of battery, and so it is literally just you and your thoughts.
Wow.
In the middle of the Sahara, under the stars.
Can you see other people? Or not really?
Occasionally, you like maybe once every hour. I mean, yeah, and you get to the checkpoints every couple hours, and so there is that, but you are alone with your thoughts. And I crossed the finish line.
She did complete it.
Did complete it, and there was a stall. There was a girl giving out some water, one of the staff, and there was a stall. And one thing you take for granted in the desert is being able to sit down, because there's no chairs. You're either sitting on the floor or you're standing up. And so there was one stall, and I just sat on that stall and I just burst into tears, crying, just this emotional overwhelm, which was partly the relief of finishing it, because you know that if you finish that long stage, you've only got 2 more days to go. One was the marathon day, one's a half marathon, and your bag's a lot lighter as well, so you've got 3 foods. Like, okay, I'm done now. I can get through the next 2 days. But then it was also just the inspiration of like what the mind and body is capable of. And we all know is capable of the crazy thing, but we actually like to see and live the evidence of that you can go for 24 hours non-stop through the night, injured. There's a video on social media of me crossing the finish line, and I just look a state. My nose had been bleeding. I got blood everywhere. I got sand all over me from like fell over and
The sand's the worst. Or must all get in your shoes and your feet and blisters.
yeah, your feet were.
Him running in sand is just jarring, isn't it? Right.
Yeah, it's even running the sand. Like,
So how much are you like running compared to just walking? Like how do you get to a point where you've basically just walking it, or
It was more walking than running on the first few days, and then as your bag gets a bit lighter, and actually as you get a bit fitter, like even out there, your body adapts so much. The last couple of days, you start to run a lot more.
Was your injury? Did your injury get better, or
Yeah,
it did help?
yeah. I mean, facetiously, when I was out there, see, this is not medical advice, but I thought if I just push through my injuries, the body has no choice but to just adapt, and that's kind of what happened. I think once the mind is debating with the body, or like there's this debate going on that the body's telling the mind to stop, and the mind's telling the body to keep going, and eventually one of them has to give.
yeah?
I think the body just realized, okay, the mind isn't giving us.
So bringing it back to the guy you trained with, the UK David Goggins.
Rory.
Yeah, how was that? How was it to train with him? Because I've heard of people training with David Goggins and the stories of what he put you through.
It was more online coaching, so I never actually did too much training with him. But he was, I'm a big believer. I don't like to figure things out for myself. I just think if what I'm trying to achieve, someone has already done it, why try and figure out how to do it myself when I can just pay someone to give me answers, right? And I thought there's two ways I can get 17 years worth of experience. I can either go and do it for the next 17 years, or I can find someone that's done it for 17 years and pay him. And he just gave me all the best advice, where I just didn't have to even try and think or anything. I just do exactly what he said. From what shoes to buy, from the tiny piece of like foam sleep mattress that you get that's like X amount of feet long, is like cut it down to X feet because you don't need that much, and it was going to save you 120 grams. And then you do that across 20 different pieces of equipment. You get your bag down to the right weight. But yeah, he was out there with us.
Oh, he did it as well.
Again.
Oh, sick.
Savage. Yeah.
is there a record time that it gets complete?
They do a different route every year.
Okay, so it's not really a fair comparison.
There's like two Moroccan brothers that have just grown up in that desert that just, they would sprint it. And there was, on the long stage, they start 3 hours after everyone else, like the top 50 or 100 elites or something. And so about 2 or 3 hours into the long stage, well, I'm like slowly trying to drag myself up this massive sand dune. This 5'3", like super short Moroccan guy called Hamid, just like a gazelle. Just,
That's funny. I think that's the one. Is that what Spence Matthews I think did last year or something?
He did do the Marathon des Sables, and then he did his own thing, which was like the 30 marathons.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah. Wow, well that's
Well done. That's
that's
crazy.
A cool thing to have done. Yeah, well done.
Yeah,
Well, I'd recommend it if you guys are really.
sounds great. Now, that must be just such an achievement afterwards. Like, you must be like, wow, if I've done that, I can fucking do it.
Yeah, what else is on your list then after that? Do you feel like, or are you still recovering from April, or have you started thinking yet of another challenge to do?
I'm really just trying to dial in my fitness and training as much as possible.
So like, to what level of training, because nothing can prepare you for that really, so where did you get with your training before April here? Like, how far was you running, or what was your level of fitness?
So the night I signed up for it, I'm a commit now, figure it out later kind of guy. Like, we can all come up with 101 reasons why, and I could have easily come up with all the excuses why I shouldn't do this. I haven't ran, whatever. I've got all these businesses to run. I thought, well, let me just pay the money and announce it, and then I'll figure the rest out. And so I paid the money, and then I went out for a run. Well, let me just see how far I can run. And I got to 18 kilometers, and I was limping. And I limped my way to like a half marathon, which is 21 kilometers. I was like, okay, there's some fucking work to be done here. But then really the training, it was just long, slow runs. And Rory, my coach, he says, the best analogy is like you're building a diesel engine. You're not an F1 car. You're not a race car. You just want to build your heart. So there's a lot of like zone 2 stuff. So kind of for me, like 140, 145 beat per minute heart rate, relatively slow pace, but you just go out for hours. And so especially towards like the last 6 weeks or the last 4 weeks, I would be out on some runs for just 6 hours.
Really?
I would just just leave the desk at like 4 p.m. and then just run until 10 p.m.
Do you do any training on sand?
Hyde Park in London has where the horses walk a lot. Some sand there. So when I would run to Hyde Park, I would do like 5k
On the sand? Okay, got it, yeah.
not as much as I probably should have.
Yeah, because it sounds completely inexperienced driving on that.
Sand, isn't it?
Yeah, there was the option to go to like Wales as well, where there's like some sand dunes on the beach, but I had other commitments, so I couldn't help it.
Still made it through.
Got it.
Fair play. Well done.
Yeah, and your old man, he did it, and he got the whole through. That's cool that you don't feel that. That's cool.
Cool. Well, what's your socials for people to follow you and connect with you online?
Tyler Newman everywhere on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, wherever else. Yeah.
Nice. Well, we appreciate having you on.
Thank you. That was really good. Honestly, that was it.
Mate, it was good.